Hello everyone and welcome back to another video tutorial. If you're new here, I'm Carolina and I love to sew and I create easy to follow sewing tutorial especially designed for beginners. So in today's video I'm going to show you how to create the Iris dress, which can be turned into a blouse as well, and it's a very easy pattern in my opinion, so definitely suitable if you are just starting out with sewing and you want to try to make your first piece of clothing. I designed this dress so long ago, I think 2 summers ago actually, and I especially love how comfortable it is because of its loose fit, but at the same time I love that I always feel both cute and confident when wearing it, and honestly I love when a design does that. So back to the pattern, this one has quite a long story because I started to work on the pattern last fall as I wanted to release it last November, and that's why I also started to test the long sleeves version of it. But as always life happened, and with the 4 months old baby, let me just say that you don't have all the time in a day that you think you have. So back in December I remember being so sad that I didn't make it to release the pattern when I planned to, but then I just thought that I could add the short sleeves option as well, so that it could be a spring summer dress as well, which in fact is what the dress was born for. So I don't know, it just makes more sense to me honestly to think about it now. So yeah, I digitalized the short sleeves as well, and I decided to develop 2 short sleeve style. One with a frill at the end and one with just elastic at the end. And guess what? While I was working at the short sleeves, I also thought that this dress might be a beautiful blouse, so I tested this blouse version as well, and looking back now, I'm so glad I didn't rush the process and I didn't release the pattern earlier, because I think now it's so much more complete, because by downloading this pattern you will get the dress version, the blouse version, plus 3 different sleeves style option, which I think makes the pattern so much more complete now. And if you think about it, with just one pattern you will end up with 6 different combinations, which I don't know about you, but I think it's amazing. And you can even experiment by adding laces or by trying a scallop hem at the end, which is so trending right now. So you could even end up with even more combinations. So yeah, since there are all these options, I'm going to make 2 different dresses so I can show you all the sewing process involved into all the sleeve styles. So we are going to start by making a dress version with the sleeve name styled B, which is the one without the frill at the end, and then we are going to make a dress with the sleeve name style C, which is the one with the frill at the end. And this one will work even if you are going to use the sleeve named style A, which is the long sleeve, and I will explain you everything later when we will come to that, so don't worry about it now. Then if you want to make a blouse instead of the dress, just cut the blouse bodice piece and follow the exact same steps that I'm using to make the dress. Okay, before jumping into the actual tutorial, I want to show you what you get when you download the digital pattern from my store, which is linked down below. So you get a general info PDF file with all the information that you need to get started with your sewing project. Then you will find an A4 and a US letter file, and those are the files that you want to use if you want to print your pattern at home. And then there is an A1 PDF file, which is the one that you want to use if you want to go to your local print shop and save time, because you won't have to stick all the paper pieces together. Okay, and now I think I said it all and we can jump into our sewing tutorial. Okay, so to get started, grab your printed paper pattern. I'm using the A4 version as I decided to print it at home. The first thing we need to do is assemble the pages together, and I'm working with the size XS here. Once everything is assembled, go ahead and cut out all the pattern pieces. If you'd like a step-by-step guide on how to do this, I'll leave a link to the dedicated video in the description down below. Once all the pieces are cut out, you should have a total of 7 pattern pieces in front of you. There are the main bodice of the dress, the main bodice of the blouse, the sleeve style A, which includes its elastic casing, the sleeve style B, and the sleeve style C, which also comes with its own elastic casing. Now let's start with our first combination, which is the dress version paired with the sleeve style B. For the fabric I'm using this beautiful cherry red linen that has a lovely summery feel and it's medium weight, which makes it just perfect for this style, and it's especially great for the balloon sleeves as it will help them to hold their shapes nicely. To begin, fold your fabric in half and start laying out your pattern pieces following the grain line as indicated by the arrow on the pattern pieces. When cutting out both the bodice and the sleeve, remember to mark the fabric fold lines for the various elastic casings. You can do this using a fabric marker, tailor's chalk, or just like I'm doing here, a small notch cut into the seam allowance. If you go with the notch method, make sure it's no longer than 5 mm since our seam allowance is 1 cm and you don't want to cut too deep. For this combination you will need to cut 2 pieces for the dress bodice and 2 pieces for the sleeves. Now that we have all our pieces cut out, 2 for the bodice and 2 for the sleeves, let's give everything a good press with the iron before we start sewing. This is a small step that makes such a big difference because it helps the fabric behave better and gives you a much neater, more professional result in the end. Let's begin with the sleeves. The first thing we are going to do is create the elastic channel at the top of the sleeve. Start by folding the fabric over itself by about 5 mm with the wrong side of the fabric facing you. Use your pattern markings as a guide. Then fold it over once more until you reach the notch you marked earlier and press it in place with your iron to hold the position. This will give us an elastic channel that is just over 1 cm wide, just the right size to thread our 8 mm elastic through it later. Now we go ahead and sew all the way along the folded edges, stitching as close to the edge as possible. Remember to backstitch at both the beginning and at the end of your seam, as this locks the stitches in place and prevents them from coming undone over time. And just like that, the first elastic channel is done. Now let's fold the sleeve in half lengthwise, bringing the right sides of the fabric together so they are facing each other. Pin the layers together to keep everything in place and sew along the edge using a 1 cm seam allowance. Next, we need to finish the raw edge to prevent fraying. I'm using an overlocker here, but if you don't have one, no worries at all, because a zigzag stitch on your regular sewing machine works perfectly and will do the job just as well. If you're using an overlocker, you will notice that there are some thread tails left at the beginning and at the end of the seam, and it's important to tuck these inside the seam so they don't unravel over time. To do this, thread the tail into a wool needle and wave it back into the seam, and this will give you a clean and secure finish that will last. Now we are going to create a channel for the elastic in the lower part of the sleeve. First, fold your fabric edge over by about 5 mm and then fold it over one more time by just over 1 cm. This double fold creates the perfect space for your 8 mm wide elastic to go through smoothly. To make this step easier on yourself, you can remove your sewing machine's removable free arm. Now sew along the entire inner edge of this fold, but we want to leave an opening of at least 5 cm, and this opening is where you will insert and put out your elastic, so that's why we need to leave it open for now. Next, we are threading the elastic through two sleeves channels. Inside your general info PDF file, you will find the handy measurement table that shows you different elastic lengths for each sizes. But here's the thing, everyone's body is unique and every elastic band stretches a little differently, so think of those measurements as a helpful starting point, not a rule set in stone. Before you commit to the full garment, I really recommend making a quick test sample first. On that same PDF page with elastic measurements, you can write down your own custom measurements. Now take a safety pin that is not too big and use it to pull the elastic through the tunnels you made. Be careful, the elastic must not twist, as if it twists it will be a little uncomfortable when you wear the dress. At the other end of the elastic I attach a small clip. This clip holds the elastic in place on the outside and it stops the elastic from sliding all the way inside the tunnel. Now we can take off the safety pin and the clip and use a regular pin to hold the elastic in place on the fabric and then sew it down. For sewing, use a straight stitch and then sew over the same line 2 or 3 times, as this makes the seam very strong and safe. Okay, now let's put in the bottom elastic. Just like before, use a safety pin to push it through the tunnel and use a clip to hold the other end on the outside, and again be careful that the elastic doesn't twist inside the channel. You want the two sides of the elastic to overlap by a few centimeters, and then you are going to sew it with a zigzag stitch. For this step, I also like to remove the free arm of your sewing machine, as it makes this step easier. Here's a little trick I use. Start sewing by hand using the hand wheel. Just do a couple of stitches and then take out the pin and switch to the foot pedal. Sew normally from there and go over the seam a couple of times to make sure it's nice and strong. Now we need to close that opening in the fabric that we left open earlier. Oh, and don't forget to change your machine back to a straight stitch first. And now we are done with one sleeve. Now you just repeat all these steps for the other sleeve as well. Alright, now that the sleeves are finished, we can start on the body of the dress. Take the two pieces that make up the bodice, and by the way, if you want to make the blouse version of this pattern instead, all these steps are exactly the same. Let's start by making the elastic channel just like we did for the sleeves. Keep the wrong side of the fabric facing you and fold the fabric over by about 5 mm. Follow the pattern line as you fold. Use your iron to help you with this, as it makes it so much easier. Then fold it again until you reach the notch you marked. Now sew along the entire elastic channel, and that's it. Now just repeat the same thing on the other bodice piece. Now we are going to add the elastic bands. First, cut them accordingly into the instruction in the general info PDF. Then, thread them into the channels we just made and use a safety pin to help you push it through just like before. Just as before, pay attention to don't let the elastic twist as you thread it in and secure the other end with the clip so it doesn't slip inside. Once the elastic comes out of the tunnel, use pins to hold it in place on both sides and then sew a few millimeters from the edge. Use a straight stitch for this. Now you will have noticed that the elastic on the back of the dress is slightly longer than the one of the front of the dress. I'll mark it with a clip so I remember which one is the back, and now I'm going to show you how I'm marking it when I'm not sewing a label on the back piece. So here's my little trick. I sew a small stitch 1 mm from the first line right in the center. This way when you put the dress on, you will know which side is the back, but I promise you once you are wearing the dress you won't even notice the little seam that you just made. Okay, we are going to put the two bodice pieces together. Place them on top of each other with the right sides facing each other. Pin them together and sew. I finished the edges with an overlock, but again you can use a zigzag stitch on your regular sewing machine and it works just as well. Okay, now we are going to attach the sleeves to the bodice and then our dress will be basically done. Hold the bodice with the wrong side of the fabric facing you and then turn the sleeves right side out. Line up the seams of the sleeves with the seams of the bodice so that everything matches up nicely. Pin the dress and sleeves all the way around the armhole and then sew with the 1 cm seam allowance. Now at the beginning there's going to be a lot of thickness from all the fabric and elastic bands, so I recommend sewing the first few stitches by hand using the hand wheel. Just do a couple of stitches by hand first, as this stops the thread from slipping or breaking, and then switch to the foot pedal and sew normally. Once you're done, clean up the seam allowances. This next step is optional, so you can skip it if you want, but I always like to do this. I sew a small stitch on the sleeve side to keep the seam allowance in place. This way, when you wear the dress, it stays hidden and you won't see it at all. I try to sew right over the existing stitch from the elastic channel. And that's it. Now attach the other sleeve the same way, and then we just need to hem the dress and we are done. To hem the dress, first fold the fabric over by about 5 mm and press it with your iron to keep it in shape. Then fold it over again by another 5 mm and press it one more time. Finally sew it all together and that's it. And there you have it, your dress is complete. I absolutely love this version with these super voluminous balloon sleeves. You can wear them covering your shoulders or pull them down for a cute off-shoulder look, and either way it looks amazing. Now I'm going to show you how to make the other two sleeve styles, sleeves A and C. Even though sleeve A is long and sleeve C is short, the steps are exactly the same. Right now I'm making sleeve style C, but if you're making sleeve style A, just follow along with me, it works the same way. For this dress I'm using a lightweight cotton, so the sleeves will be softer and more delicate than the ones on the first dress. First I'm going to place the pattern pieces on the fabric, and when doing this always follow the grain line that's marked on the pattern. I'm cutting out two bodice pieces for the dress version, the two style C sleeves and the two pieces that will make the elastic channel for the sleeves. Here it is an important thing to remember, all the pieces except the two elastic channel pieces should be cut with the fabric folded in half as indicated on the pattern pieces. And don't forget to transfer the notches from the pattern into the fabric. Once you're done cutting, you will have a total of 6 pieces, and now press them all with your iron like you normally do before you start sewing, and you are ready to go. Alright, let's start making the sleeves. First, take the two long rectangles that will make the channels for the lower elastic bands and make sure the wrong side of the fabric is facing you. Fold the long edges inward by about 5 mm on each side and press them with your iron to set the fold in place. There you go, now do the same thing with the other rectangle. Next, take your two sleeves and look at the notches you made for where the elastic channel goes. Mark this distance along the entire length of the fabric using a fabric marker or a chalk. Do this now while the fabric is open and flat, as it's so much easier and more practical than trying to do it later. These marks will help us when we sew the channel. Now let's make the channel for the top elastic. Fold the fabric over by about 5 mm, then fold it back on itself up to the notch. Keep the wrong side of the fabric facing you as you do this step. Press everything with your iron to hold the fold in place, and you will end up with a channel that is just over 1 cm wide. And again, the elastic we are using is 8 mm thick, so it fits perfectly in there. Now sew everything together and keep your needle as close to the edge as possible so the stitching looks nice and neat. Now fold the fabric in half lengthwise along the sleeve and make sure the right sides of the fabric are facing each other. Pin everything in place and then sew. Do this for both sleeves. All done, now finish the seam allowances and you can use an overlocker machine or just use the zigzag stitch on a regular sewing machine. Now we can attach the elastic bands. Position them along the guide marks we traced earlier. You can remove the removable free arm if you want, as it makes everything easier. Start sewing a few millimeters from the edge and follow your marks. This helps you sew a straight line. When you're almost at the end, open the fabric up, fold it inward and then fold the edges back like before. This stops the fabric from fraying, and then keep sewing. Now sew the other edge as well, but this time leave about 4 to 5 cm unsewn at the end. That's where we will push the elastic through. Before we put in the elastic, let's hem the sleeves first. Fold the fabric over by 5 mm first, and then fold it over again by 2 cm and then sew it down. Use your iron to help keep the fabric in place. Once you're done, you can put in the elastic bands. Again, remember that inside the general info PDF you will find a table with guidelines for different elastic measurements, but as everyone's body is different and every elastic stretches a little differently, think of those measurements as suggestions, not strict rules. So again, I really recommend making a test piece first to see how the elastic feels on your body and try it on to decide if you want it looser or tighter in center places. And if you change the length, write down your measurements on the PDF sheet in the space provided. That way you will have your custom measurements saved for next time. Now let's insert the elastic using a safety pin, and I start with the top channel. Once the elastic is out, secure it with pins and sew using a straight stitch. Use a 5mm seam allowance. Now insert the lower elastic the same way. Once both sides are out, overlap them by a few centimeters and hold them in place with a pin. Then sew them together using a zigzag stitch. At the start of the seam, I suggest you to sew the first few stitches by hand using the hand wheel. Then take out the pin and continue with the foot pedal. And I really recommend sewing back and forth several times over the seam to make it super strong. This way the elastic won't come loose after you've worn the dress or blouse for a while. And there you go, now switch your sewing machine back to the strict stitch and close that opening. Now your sleeves are all ready to go. From here you can go back to the tutorial and follow all the same steps to make the bodice of the dress and to attach the sleeves just like we did before. And you've got this, here you have your new dress. Okay, so we reached the end of this video and I hope that everything was as clear and easy to follow as possible to you. If not, you can always send me a message or just comment down below and I will get back to you as quick as possible. As always, I'd love to see your creations, so please consider tagging me on Instagram or just send me your pictures via DM. I really love to see them and it makes me so happy whenever someone messages me with a picture of their creation. And as always, thank you for staying with me until the end of this video and for sewing together today. I hope you're having a beautiful day and I can't wait to see you into my next video. Bye!